You are about to make a mistake. A very expensive mistake. If you're sitting there right now, credit card in hand, hovering over the Buy Now button for a Nikon Z6 III, or maybe eyeing a Sony A7 IV, you need to stop. Seriously, put the mouse down. Take a breath. Because what I'm about to tell you is going to completely change how you look at the camera market for the next 5 years. We aren't just talking about a minor upgrade here. We aren't talking about a few extra megapixels or a slightly better battery life. We are talking about a leak so massive, it is shaking the foundations of the camera world. The Nikon Z6 IV is coming, and based on the latest intel from the supply chain and Nikon's own labs, it is going to make your current dream camera look like a relic from the past. Welcome back to the channel where we don't just read the spec sheets, we tell you what they actually mean for your creative future. Today, we are diving deep into a revelation that is going to be the absolute nightmare for Nikon's competitors. We know the Z6 III was good. It was a beast. It gave us that world-first partially stacked sensor. It was fast. It was reliable. But let's be honest with each other. For the high-end pros, the wedding photographers in New York, the commercial directors in London, there was always that tiny voice in the back of their heads. It was saying, "Is this enough?" There were still a few boxes left unchecked. Well, the latest reports suggest that Nikon didn't just hear that voice. They decided to silence it forever. Let's start with the heart of the beast. For years, the 24-megapixel sensor has been the standard. It was safe. It was manageable. But the industry is shifting. Sony has been pushing higher resolutions. Canon is making moves. And Nikon? They're done playing it safe. The leaks indicate that the Nikon Z6 IV is abandoning the 24.5-megapixel standard and jumping straight into the 32 to 33 megapixel territory. This is huge, but don't just look at the number. The number is only half the story. The real magic is in the architecture. We are hearing about an ultra-fast, fully stacked sensor design. This goes way beyond the partially stacked tech we saw in the predecessor. Why does this matter to you? 2 words, rolling shutter. You know that gelatin wobble effect when you pan your camera too fast? That weird distortion that ruins your handheld 4K footage? With this new stacked architecture, that is effectively gone. We're talking about readout speeds that are so fast, they virtually eliminate rolling shutter, even when you're whipping the camera around at high speeds. Imagine getting the performance of the flagship Z9, a camera that costs nearly twice as much, inside a body that you can actually fit in your everyday backpack. For the photographers watching, this jump to 33 megapixels is what we call the Goldilocks zone. It is perfect. 24 megapixels is great for web, but it struggles when you need to crop heavily for wildlife or print massive editorial spreads. On the other hand, 45 or 60 megapixels is amazing for detail, but it absolutely murders your hard drive space and slows down your workflow. 33 megapixels sits right in the middle. It gives you enough room to crop in on that eagle flying in the distance, but it won't force you to buy 5 new hard drives just to store a weekend's worth of shooting. It is the sweet spot for the working professional. But a sensor is nothing without a brain to run it. And this is where the rumors get really exciting. We are hearing whispers of the X8 processor. Yes, the next generation of Nikon's processing engine. When you pair this new brain with that stacked sensor, the autofocus potential is terrifyingly good. We aren't just talking about eye tracking anymore. We're talking about deep learning neural subject detection that sees things the human eye might miss. Imagine tracking a bird's eye through thick, chaotic brush. Imagine locking onto a bride's face through a dense veil in a dimly lit reception hall. The leaks suggest this camera won't just hunt for focus. It will predict it. It's the kind of reliability that means you never have to explain to a client why you missed a shot. Now, I know a lot of you are here for the video specs. And frankly, this is where the Z6 IV sounds less like a mirrorless camera and more like a cinema rig. You remember when Nikon acquired Red Digital Cinema? Everyone wondered when we would see the fruit of that Maria. Yeah. Well, the wait is over. The Z6 IV is rumored to be the first mid-range camera to fully integrate Red's legendary color science directly into the Nikon N-Log workflow. This is a game changer. Think about the Hollywood look. Usually, achieving that takes hours of color grading. It takes fighting with LUTs and tweaking curves. But if Nikon successfully integrates RED's color science, you're looking at a cinematic image straight out of the camera. Skin tones that look natural and organic. Highlights that roll off smoothly instead of clipping harshly. We are hearing about a cinematic mode that essentially puts a RED camera in your hands for a fraction of the price. And the resolutions? They're just as impressive. We are looking at 5.7K oversampled 4K at up to 60 frames per second. And here is the key. Absolutely no crop. You get the full width of that beautiful new sensor. For the slow motion junkies, 4K 120p is expected to be cleaner and sharper than ever before. No more soft, mushy slow motion. This is crisp, high bitrate footage that you can use in high-end productions without hesitation. However, all this power generates heat. That is the physics of it. One of the biggest complaints with powerful hybrid cameras is that they overheat. You're in the middle of a shoot, the sun is beating down, and suddenly your screen goes black with a temperature warning. It is a nightmare. But Nikon is reportedly tackling this head-on with a new internal thermal dissipation bridge. Now, don't worry, this isn't some loud, bulky fan that is going to ruin your audio. It is a passive cooling system, a feat of engineering designed to pull heat away from the sensor and processor efficiently. The goal? Unlimited recording. The leaks suggest you will be able to shoot 4K 60p until your battery dies or your card fills up, even the blistering summer heat of California or the humidity of Miami. That is the kind of reliability that separates a toy from a tool. You need to know your gear will keep working as long as you do. And speaking of the body, the viewing experience is getting an upgrade too. The electronic viewfinder, or EVF, is rumored to jump to a stunning 5.76 million dots. If you have arguably used lower resolution EVFs, you know they can look digital and pixelated. At nearly 6 million dots, the view is so clear it feels like looking through an optical viewfinder. It is bright enough to see clearly even in direct sunlight, which is crucial for outdoor shooters. So, when can you actually get this powerhouse in your hands? The timeline is looking like a development announcement toward the end of 2026. I know. That feels like a long time. But in the world of camera development, it is right around the corner. And the pricing? This is the aggressive part. Nikon is expected to keep it competitive, hovering around the $2,699 to $2,999 mark. They are aiming this squarely at the throat of the Sony A7 series. Think about the value proposition here. For less than $3,000, you are essentially getting a mini Z9. You're getting the stacked sensor speed. You are getting the RED color science. You are getting the next-gen autofocus. It is arguably the best investment a creator could make in this decade. If you buy a camera today, you are buying yesterday's technology. But if you hold out for the Z6 IV, you're future-proofing your career. Nikon is no longer playing catch-up. For years, people said Sony was the innovator and Nikon was just following. That narrative is dead. With the Z6 IV, Nikon is setting the pace. From improved in-body image stabilization that gives you gimbal-like stability to the dual CF Express Type B slots that allow for lightning-fast workflows, every inch of this machine is designed for the high-end professional. You do not want to be the person who drops $3,000 on a camera next week, only to watch the Z6 IV revolution drop a few months later. We have tracked the patents. We have seen the patterns. This camera is the real deal. It is the culmination of Nikon's 100-year heritage mixed with RED's digital wizardry. It is the camera that will define the next 5 years of content creation. In my honest opinion, looking at these specs, this is the camera that finally bridges the gap. It kills the need for a separate cinema camera for most creators. It kills the need for a high-megapixel studio body for most photographers. It does it all, and it does it without the compromises we are used to seeing in the mid-range. It is a beast. So, here is the question you need to ask yourself. Does that jump to 33 megapixels and RED color science make this a must-buy for you? Or are you going to stick with your current setup? I really want to know what you think. Let me know down in the comments. I read every single one of them. If you found this breakdown helpful, and if you want to save your wallet from making a premature purchase, do me a huge favor and smash that like button. It helps the channel more than you know. And if you want to stay ahead of the curve, if you want to be the first to know the exact second the Z6 IV officially drops, make sure you hit that subscribe button, share this video with your camera nerd friends, and hit the bell icon so you never miss an update. We have a massive comparison coming up next where we pit these leaked specs against the Canon R6 Mark III, and you do not want to miss that battle. Until next time, keep shooting, keep creating, and I'll see you in the next one.